Hey guys, thank you so much. Thank you so much for tuning into my channel. And if you have not already subscribed, please subscribe and please like. You better like now. I want you to like my channel and this video. Now, I'm with someone by the name of Ken Hansen, and you may have seen the other video where he spoke extensively about what it is like to be an understudy, a swing, a chorus dancer, dance ensemble, and all of that. And if you haven't watched it, you need to watch because it's very informative. But on this video, we're going to be talking about stage management. Production stage management. And he's the best one to speak on that because he has had an illustrious career on exactly that. And he is no nonsense. First of all, Ken, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you, Vivian?
I am fine. I am so glad to have you here yet again. And I want you, in case there are people out there who might be interested, because there are other things to do besides being on stage. There's a whole plethora of things to do off stage, right? So can you tell us a bit about stage management and what it involves?
Well, the stage manager has different roles. That he does different things before the show starts, and then when the show starts, and then when the show is over. Now, in the very beginning, when the show is in rehearsal, that's when the stage manager begins. And he runs the rehearsals like a teacher runs a classroom. He's the disciplinarian, especially of the cast. That's the reason why he's in the stage manager. I don't mean the stage manager, because there's more women now than men. But the stage manager is the same union as the actors. So Actors Equity are actors and stage managers. That way we can intermingle with them directly because everything in the theater is unions. There's a musicians union, the wardrobe union, even the people, the tickets out front, the ushers, everybody's a union. So the fact that we are in the same union as them, that gives us the leeway to be their disciplinarians. When the show is being put together, we are the ones that are running the rehearsal, listening to the director very intensely, keeping notes as to where everyone is going and what they're doing. Because once the show is actually open in front of an audience, the director will leave, and it's the stage manager's job to maintain the show that the director has left on opening night. There are constantly changes while you're putting the show together, and that's the stage manager's job, to keep track of the changes that the director wants to take this scene out and put this scene in. Your job is to take that scene out of the script, put the new scene in, run off copies of the new script, and hand it out to everybody. So the stage manager has, the production stage manager is, of course, the head stage manager. And then there's the first assistant stage manager and the second assistant stage manager on a musical. And on the second assistant stage manager can also be an understudy, which I was at different times. Now, once the show begins, once the curtain goes up, the stage manager is calling the show, which is calling the light cues. And the stage manager is on a headset. And since everything is computerized now, there's a person that's running the sound and running the lights and running the scenery. And most of it is computerized. Back when I began, nothing was computerized. So everybody had to do the lights, and there would be a strange light that might come up, and you got to look out there and tell them what is that. There's a strange light shining on so and so and so. But that doesn't happen anymore because it's a disc that goes in. It's all computerized now. So while the show is going on, you're calling light cues based on where the music is, or based on exactly where the director wants the lights to change. And that's where your artistry comes in, where you have to say go at exactly the time. When you say go, they push a button and the lights change, or they push a button and the scene, and it's got to stop exactly where the director has put it. The stage manager also prepares all the understudies. There's an understudy rehearsal every week. We are the ones that, as soon as a person is hired to be an understudy, it's our job to train them, to either have the musical person work with them on the music, the dance person works with them on the dance, and the stage manager brings it all together in the understudy rehearsal. And then there's a put-in rehearsal, and the stage manager puts that together. And when somebody comes in to replace somebody, that process goes on and on and on. And after the show, you are the ones that connect with the director and the producer to tell them on a daily basis, via a stage manager report, exactly what happened on that particular performance, And they generally nowadays, I guess it's faxed over. It's probably emailed now. I haven't been out there in a long time now. Back in my day, you wrote it out by hand and had to have it Xerox.
And that was the book that you all wrote. And didn't y'all have a book that you would write stuff in? CD, they got books. They write your crap down if you mess up, kids.
Every performance. And if you're good or bad, we write that down too.
Yes.
So-and-so went on. They were very good. So-and-so, they need to work on this number. So-and-so, anything that happened, it was a good performance, if the audience was very enthusiastic, because they sit home, the producers, and they look at it, one day at a time, and they want to know what's going on. So the stage manager is really like a teacher in a classroom. They do a lot of work. I think they're underpaid for what they actually have to do, but there are a lot of underpaid people in the theater, as you know. But the stage managers work because everything is on the responsibility of the stage manager. So if something goes wrong, it's you they're coming to. What are they doing on that stage? So you are accountability for everything.
You know something, Ken, the stage management job, it's almost one of the most important jobs in a production because it is so all encompassing. I mean, from the moment that an actor either doesn't show up at half hour or plain doesn't show up, has not called, is not doing his work on stage, this all falls on your shoulder to discipline them. I remember, we're not going to call any names, but I remember in the show that Ken and I were doing together, we've done a couple shows together. And I remember, okay, I'm getting a little nitty gritty here, but I remember there was a thing where the dancer was going with the choreographer and then they kind of broke up and then the dancer got mad with the choreographer. So getting back at the choreographer, the dancer decided he gonna mess up on the choreography. I think you remember what I'm talking about or who I'm talking about, Ken. So what happened was one of the numbers was my number. It was a song and dance number with two men. And so when he decided to mess up on all of this, that was messing me up because he would change the choreography. But it came to a head and eventually this person, he was let go after a while, not so much because of what I did or what I said, but because there was a lot of other charges on him. But he really was a fine dancer and he went on still to have a wonderful career. But it's things like this, all the antics that actors can play on one another, should not play on one another, but they do. Like, for instance, being in a spot on the stage where you know you're not supposed to be or trying to upstage a fellow actor. So yes. Besides you calling the show, you are also, with your assistant, I imagine, taking notes, right?
Of course. You go out and watch the show at least once a week or twice a week. The dance captain is supposed to watch. Sometimes the dance captain's in the show, so they can only watch once a week. They go out and the swing goes on, they watch. But the stage manager is supposed to watch as much as possible, especially when a new person is going on and giving notes. And the other thing, one of the biggest parts of the job, after all the technical stuff is done, one of the biggest parts is dealing with personalities, because you're the one that has to deal with the egos, and you have the bruised egos, and you have to calm everybody down so the show goes on. Everybody may not be happy with your decision, but your job is to keep everybody calm, and you yourself cannot go off. That the stage manager themselves cannot go off. You have to keep it within the confines, and
I have to say you were calm, because I remember the time, and this was nothing for you to not be calm about, but I remember the time you asked me to come to this other performer's room and you said, all right, there's a complaint, Vivian, that you're coming up too soon and you're stopping her applause.
Oh,
which
I remember.
I did not even, I didn't even realize that was happening, because I was coming up from downstairs underneath, which was supposed to be like coming out of the subway. So I could hardly hear. So once the applause started, I would let a few seconds go by or whatever. Then I would come on up. Little did I know it hadn't reached its peak. So this person had complaining about this. And so he called me and we were in the same room and he said, all right, Vivian, I need you to come up a little later because she says that you are cutting off her applause. And so I think I did comply, didn't I? I think I complied from that point.
Yeah.
It does, because I didn't know.
Yeah. That's what upstaging is. That was upstaging.
Are you trying? Wait, hold it, baby, hold it. Are you trying to say I was upstaging? I was not doing it on purpose.
That's the definition of upstaging.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It is the definition.
Yes, yes,
So
yes.
let me ask you this, Ken. Is there any special training or to be a stage manager? Is that
Now there is. Now they actually
really?
have courses. You can actually get a degree, I think from NYU in stage managing. I have friends that teach. Back in my day, no. There was just a book called The Stage Manager's Handbook. I started with Rosetta Lenoir at Amos
Yes.
Repertory, and then I went to Vinette Carroll at the Urban
Mm-hmm.
Arts Corps, and I kind of observed and learned, and then I realized a lot of it determined my musicianship. And since I was a musician, I remember when I walked into Bubba, and it was just like so quick. I said, "Oh, I just got to know the music." And if some of the other stage managers weren't as musically inclined as I was, I had a few times when I had to take over the calling of the show because the production stage manager wasn't musical enough. You know, it was like a couple of those rock and roll shows that I did, and they were a little too. One in particular, and the man was a wonderful gentleman, but he was too old to feel that rock and roll music. And they asked Ken, "Would you do?" And I went right in and did it in 2 seconds, and it
But
was
I mean,
wonderful.
Ken, you were absolutely, and I guess you still do it from time to time, an amazing stage manager because number one, at the same time you were being stern with us, you were also a nice person. But listen, people have to understand that, like, for instance, some of my students will cry if I give them constructive criticism. So I let them have one cry. Why do they get one cry? Because they have to learn that as long as they are in show business, you're going to get notes. That's the job of
Absolutely.
a dance captain and of a stage manager and of a
Yeah.
director. They give notes. If your skin is so thin that you going to take notes and you going to cry every time you get one, they going to fire your ass.
Well, let me
Because
tell
they
you,
don't have time to put up with that.
you're right. Let me tell you two things. I was told early in my career, I was working with an older stage manager who said to me, and I'll never forget this, and it took me a while to kind of say, he said, if everybody loves the stage manager is not doing his job.
That's right. That's
If
right. Everybody loves
loves
you.
if everybody's walking around, oh, he's the most fabulous person. Oh, I just love it. The whole theater from top to bottom. Then your job is to rub. That's what your job. You're not doing your job. And I listened to that and I said, okay. And then when I started doing other shows after that, there'll be a few people that'll be pissed off at me, and I say, okay, I guess I'm doing my job now. You know, but overall. Now, let me tell you, I have two people. I'm not going to call any names like you say, but because you probably know them as well as I do. Two people in this business that I worked with decades ago and are still upset by notes that I gave them that they will not befriend me on Facebook. Two of them from some note that I gave them 30 years ago. And they should have listened to the note because it was true. And had they listened, they may have had a better career than they had.
Ooh,
but,
Lord,
but it's the truth. And they were pissed. And to this day, they will not befriend me. I mean, that's such a long time ago,
But you know something, Ken? It's the same with me. They used to call me a bitch. They still call me a bitch every now and then, but I'm they consider me a nicer person, but they used to call me a bitch. Now, why did they call me a bitch? Because I am the quintessential performer. I go home, I do my work, and people think that after rehearsal is over, in equity, it's usually 10 to 6, and before you go into 10 out of 12 for your tech rehearsal. And they think at 6 o'clock, after that, they don't have to do anything. So what happens is if you go home and you do nothing, and then you come in a rehearsal the next day at 10, and then you haven't worked on what you learned the day before, it's in a sense they have to start all over. I'm not that kind of performer. I'm up in the middle of the night. I'll wake up thinking, okay, what were those lyrics? What were those dance steps? So now, if you're in a number with me, and I don't consider it my number, I consider it that the number belongs to all of us. You can't be really fucking up, because I'm not going to allow that, because the audience deserves more. They have paid a lot of money to come see a show, and the least you can do as an actor in this business is do your work, do your homework. So bottom line, if you're in it just for this, that's bad, because A director, people are going to pick up on that because why? You're in it just for this. So you're really not putting in the work and you're going to be fired more times than not. You can tell the people, Ken, who really love this. And the people that you were giving notes to who didn't seem to have a problem with you are probably wonderful performers.
Yeah, I mean, out of all the people I work with, it was only two. So hey,
Yeah.
you know,
And that's too bad. You're not going to please everybody. But when
no.
it comes to me, is I think it's with anybody who's doing work on a stage or behind the stage. You want to be the best you can at it, and you want everybody else to bring their A game. Because this, bottom line for me, Ken, is all about the audience for me. Am I doing the best to my ability so that that audience can receive what I'm trying to give to them? And that's what it should be about. Now, let me ask you this, Ken. What is the most awful thing that you can remember, if you can remember, that happened as a stage manager that you encountered? If you can remember.
Oh, I can remember a few.
I'm scared of you.
I can't call the names.
No, don't call no names.
No, I can't call the names because these people are very famous. But I did a show once. Was out of town, and this particular performer, who was the star of the show, was very temperamental, and they were going through a terrible period in their life, and they wanted to control everything. And they would hold the show up until they were ready for the show to begin. It didn't matter. You could call places at 5 minutes to 8, and they said that and after a while, the other people and the equity people came to me and said, "Don't you dare hold that show up for so and so and so and so." And one night, I called places, and the overture went, and they came down there and told me that the star was not ready to go on, and the star left the other performers on the stage. There was dialogue that they had to improvise around that person not coming on the stage. And oh yes. And then the same person, they eventually left the show, but this same person, even a few days later, had because that led to fighting amongst the company. And then they decided during the first act that they were not doing a certain number in the second act. And came to me and said, "Could you please inform so-and-so and so, my co-star, I will not be doing the duet in the second act."
Okay. But wait a minute, why was this person not fired?
Well, they were, because they were a star and they were selling.
Doesn't matter.
Well, I mean, again, it's a business, and they were selling the tickets, and they were selling the tickets. They left eventually. It was a short run, in DC, and then they were replaced by somebody else. But things can get. That was the ugliest. They actually left the actors on the stage with dialogue around them, like they were a character. So they were supposed to come out, and the people were like, "Well, where?" In front of the audience. Well, and they had to improvise and clap, and we had to get to the end of the scene. Also, another thing, I'm not going to call this name either, because these are famous people.
I know.
I did another show. I can't call the name because, and this person fell asleep in the middle of the show. Okay. Because they had been out drinking and drugging the night before, and it got to their number. And in the middle of the show, they had like a long break. They in the middle of the first act till they came back on in the second act, there was about 30, 45 minutes. They fell dead asleep up in the dressing room. And they were playing the intro to the number. I just got on the mic screaming out the name, and then we immediately had to switch back, get the next person down for the next number. Let's keep it moving. Tell the orchestra conductor we're going on. And we went right on. And here they come running down in the middle of the next number. I said, "Well, you have another chance tonight to do it."
Well, I will say this. I mean, when it was me and another big star, she's passed on, and we were starring over the title in this one movie, not movie, but a theater piece, this musical. And so I had this number that I was singing and strong acting in it. And in the back behind the scrim was a dancer dancing, spelling out the story to what I was singing. And Someone told me who knew that she should not be wearing a sparkly belt at her waistline because it was just supposed to be the silhouette of her dancing. They said, Vivian, are you aware that the dancer is in back of you behind the screen wearing a very shiny belt? I said, what? A shiny belt? I mean, this number was so serious. It did not call for jewels and sparkles and all of that, sweetheart. So when we did the show the next time, I sort of kind of positioned myself. The audience wouldn't have been able to tell anything, but kind of turned, and sure enough, baby, she was standing back there with this belt had to be at least 2 inches wide, and it was sparkling. What was it doing? It was drawing, taking focus off of the number, because you could see this shiny belt, and she was not allowed to do that number. That her stand-in or standby or understudy took over for her. You have to speak on this, Ken, to a degree. In theater, no matter what part of theater it is, you cannot just up and change stuff because you feel
No. That was wrong. I mean, the costume, I was getting ready to ask you, is that part of the costume design?
Not at all, honey. It was a nude bodysuit.
Somebody else should have caught that before you.
I know. And I think it had been going on a couple days. Or here again, maybe that particular stage management was afraid to say something. Why didn't he do something?
Maybe he didn't notice. Maybe he wasn't out front. Maybe he couldn't see it from the side.
Oh, you know what? That's right, because he was from the... That's exactly why.
Maybe you couldn't really see it.
Yes.
You couldn't really see it from the side. And unless somebody told him, maybe they didn't even notice that the person had switched. But the wardrobe person, like you can ask Linda. Linda will tell you that.
Oh, honey, Linda would have harped on that. She would have been on that.
They look from the side. They look from the side. They want to see, you can't see everything from the wings, but when they walk out there, they're looking and making sure that it's what was designed and what they have told you to put on. I just thought about, I had an actor fall asleep on stage during the show.
Come on.
There was a long pause and somebody else was doing their number. People were sitting down and they fell asleep during the show. Okay.
Well, Ken, I have to talk about myself here for a little bit now. It's not like I've been perfect, because I have not. Child, please. I was doing, it was don't bother me, I can't cope. So the show was about to start, and all of a sudden, I thought of this gossip that I just needed to share with my best friend who was also in the show. So I called her. We go in the bathroom. Girl, let me tell you, so-and-so and so-and-so. And this went on. I done totally forgot that the stage management, they have already called 5 minutes. So we just go, what? She did what? I said, yes, she did. So we going on and on. And next thing I hear, Vivian. So I opened it. I said, what's going on? He said, you're on. So I went running upstairs. Okay, remember I told you about Lolita Holloway? She was in this show. And when I walked up, baby, this was so funny. She's standing off stage. They're trying to convince her to go on to start the song. Gotta keep moving, Lord. She said, no, I don't really know the song. And they're going back and forth. I said, here I am. I'm here. Baby, by the time I got out there, when I walked upstairs, the music that was playing, it was like he was playing dinner music. The dancer was sitting in the middle of the stage in this relaxed. So that was a thing that I did that was horrible.
Yes.
Horrible.
I remember one time, sometime an actor, the show is staged so that they walk right on stage and start talking. So the sound man will turn the mic on right when they walk on stage. Well, this particular night, this person was in the bathroom, coming out of the bathroom. And you heard the toilet flush going out onto the wireless mic. They had just invented wireless mics then.
It was at the Crossroads, and I forget what show I was doing. And child, the sound was just horrendous. And they were threatening to fire this guy. Well, honey, the guy forgot, the sound engineer forgot to turn off my mic when the show was over. And somebody came running back, said, Vivian, we heard every word you said and what I was saying. What the hell is going on with this sound?
Yeah, I know,
God
I
damn
know.
it! What is going on? And I was
Those mics
cussing
are
up a storm.
dangerous.
And he said the people in the audience were laughing. They were just laughing. Anyway, Ken, we could just go on and on with these stories, but this has been a delight. But thank you so much for all of this great information. And you know what? We will do a video where we get a bunch of us together just talking about things that have gone on in the theater, the good stuff and the bad stuff.
No names.
No names. See, we
That'll
don't
be
do
the
names.
name of the broadcast. No names. No
yeah,
names.
one of the reasons why I don't like to do names is some of those people have passed on and their children are still living. And I really don't want to have their children hearing us, say anything bad about their parents or parent. I think it's not right. And many of these people who, especially who are still living, we've forgiven each other. We've made up for each other. So, but we can still tell the stories without calling their names. Mm-hmm. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. Thank you again, Ken, so much. And again, if you have not subscribed, I got to watch my diction. I suppose I have superb diction, so I got to keep that up. They tell me I got great diction. So subscribed, please do so. And I'll see you the next time. Bye.
Bye.